What's up, guys? Today's Ernest here. We're back in our video. Today we're gonna be reading The Adventures of Captain Underpants 25 half anniversary edition with all new Dogman comics. So here we go. Chapter 1, George and Harold. Meet George Beard and Harold Hutchins. George is the kid on the left with the tie and the flat top. Harold is the one on the right with the t-shirt and the bad haircut. Remember that now. George and Harold were best friends. They had a lot in common. They lived right next door to each other, and they were both in the same 4th grade class at Jordan Howitz Elementary School. George and Harold were usually responsible kids. Whenever anything bad happened, George and Harold were usually responsible. But don't get the wrong idea about these two. George and Harold were actually very nice boys. No matter what everything else thought, they were good, sweet, and lovable. ... Well, okay, maybe they weren't so sweet and lovable, but they were good and honest. It's just that George and Harold each had a silly streak a mile long. Usually that silly streak was hard. Wait. I'm sorry. I started this time. I'm just a kid. I'm not a grown man. It's just that George and Harold each had a silly streak a mile long. Usually the silly streak was hard to control. Sometimes it got them into big trouble. And once it got them into big trouble. But before I can tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. Chapter 2, Treehouse Comic Inc. After a hard day of cracking jokes, pulling pranks, and causing mayhem at school, George and Harold liked to rush to the old treehouse in George's backyard. Inside the treehouse were 2 big old fluffy chairs, a table, a cupboard, crane with junk food, and a padlocked crate filled with pencils, pens, and stacks of paper. Now, Harold loved to draw and George loved to make up stories. And together the two boys spent hours and hours writing and drawing their very own comic books. Over the years, they had created hundreds of their own comics, starring dozens of their own superheroes. First, there was Dogman. Then came Timmy the Talking Toilet. And who could have forget the amazing Cow Lady? But all the time greatest superhero they ever made up had to be the amazing Captain Underpants. George and Harold came up with the idea. Most superheroes look like they're flying around in their underwear, he said. Well, this guy actually is flying around in his underwear. The two boys laughed and laughed. Yeah, said Harold. We could fight with wedgie power. George and Harold spent entire afternoons writing and drawing the comic Adventures of Captain Underpants. He was their coolest superhero ever. By the way, if I end the video, that means my phone died. Luckily for the boys, this century of Jorwin Howitz Elementary School was much too busy to keep an eye on the copy machine. So whenever they got a chance, George and Harold would sneak into the office and run off several hundred copies of their latest Captain Underpants adventure. After school, they sold their homemade comics on the playground for 50 cents each. Chapter 3, The Adventures of Captain Underpants. And can't forget, written by George Beard and cartoons by Harold Hutchins. The Really Cool Adventures of Captain Underpants, written by George Beard, drawn by Harold Hutchins. It was time of darkness and despair for planet Earth. Bad guys had taken over the streets, and all of the superheroes in the world were too old to fight evil. Hey! Haha. Then along came a new improved extra strength superhero. Tra-la-la! Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's an egg salad sandwich. No way, I'm Captain Underpants. Captain Underpants was faster than a speeding whizbang, more powerful than boxer shorts, and able to leap tall buildings without getting a wedgie. Tra-la-la! Night and day Underpants. Captain Underpants watched over the city, fighting for justice and all that is pre-shrunken colony. Meanwhile, at near elementary school, turn the next page. Yes. It was Stinky Taco surprise day at the cafeteria. Yuck! Everyone hated it so much that they threw it away. Soon, cafeteria food came to life. I am the inventory hunk. The monster ran around the school, eating everyone in sight. Munch. Help! The inventory hunk just ate up 15 folding chairs and the gym teacher. Oh no, not the folding chairs. This looks like a job for Tra-la-la, Captain Underpants. Captain Underpants shot lots of underwears at the monster, but it didn't go any good. Munch, munch. So Captain Underpants took off running. The hunk chased him. Grr! Help! And chased him and chased him. Finally, the incredible hunk got too tired and thirsty to chase Captain Underpants. How about a nice drink of water? So the monster took a long drink from a shiny white bowl. Gulp, gulp. When suddenly, flush! Hooray for Captain Underpants! And so the incredibly hunk got flushed away and was never heard from again. Tra-la-la, Dan. Don't miss our next existing adventure, Captain Underpants and the Attack of the Talking Toilets, coming soon to a playground near you. Chapter 4, Mean Old Mr. Krupp. Oh, I forgot about to show you the pages. Oh my god. So here are the pages, by the way. So here, this page. Here. And here. And these. So yeah. Chapter 4, Mean Old Mr. Krupp. Do you see that old guy looking out the window up there? That's Mr. Krupp, the principal. Now, Mr. Krupp was the meanest old principal in the whole history of Jordan's Howitz Elementary School. He hated laughter and singing. He hated the sounds of children playing at recess. In fact, he hated children altogether. And guess which two children Mr. Krupp hated most of all? I know, it's George and Harold. If you guessed it, it's George and Harold. You're right, Mr. Krupp hated George and Harold. He hated their pranks and their wisecracks. He hated their silly attitudes and their constant giggling. And he especially hated those awful Captain Underpants comic books. I'm going to get those boys one day, Mr. Krupp vowed. One day, very, very soon. Chapter 5. Oh my god. Did I forget to show you it? No, I didn't. Okay. Chapter 5. One day, very, very soon. Remember when I said that George and Harold's silly streak got them into big trouble once? Well, this is the story of how that happened and how some huge pranks and little blackmail turned their principal into the coolest superhero of all time. It was the day of the big football game between the Howitz Knuckleheads and the Sylvan Stink Bugs. The bleachers were filled with fans. See our football game today. You could have changed the letters, I think. The cheerleaders ran into the field and shook their pom-poms over their heads. A fine black dust drifted in all their head pom-poms and settled all around them. "Give me a K," shouted the cheerleaders. "K," repeated the fans. "Give me an N," shouted the cheerleaders. "N," repeated the fans. "Give me an chew," sneezed the cheerleaders. Chew, repeated the fans. Cheerleaders sneezed and sneezed and sneezed some more. They couldn't stop sneezing. "Hey," shouted a fan to the bleachers. "Someone's sprinkled black pepper into the cheerleaders' pom-poms." "I wonder who did that," asked another fan. I think we all know who did that. I think we all know. The cheerleaders stumbled off the field, sneezing and dripping with mucus, as the marching band members took their places. But when the band began to play, steady screams of bubbles beginning blowing out of their instruments. Bubbles were everywhere, up and down the field. The marching band slipped and slid, leaving behind a thick trail of wet, bubbly foam. "Hey," shouted a fan into the bleachers. "Someone poured bubble bath into the marching band's instruments." "I wonder who did that," asked another fan. We all know we did that. Okay? We all know. Soon the football teams took the field to Knuckleheads kicked the ball up, up, up. When the ball higher and higher it went. The ball sailed into the clouds and kept right on going until nobody could see it anymore. "Hey," shouted a fan into the bleachers. "Someone filled the game ball with helium." "I wonder who did that," asked another fan. Okay, we all know, actually. We all know. "Oh, hey, Mr. Meter." But the missing ball didn't make any difference because at that moment, the Knuckleheads were rolling around the field, scratching and itching like crazy. "Hey," shouted the coach. "Someone replaced our deep-hitting music rub loading with Mr. Pranks' extra scratchy inch cream." "We wonder who did that," shouted fans in a bleacher. Yep, we all know. The whole afternoon went on much the same way, with people shouting everything from, "Hey, somebody put a sea monkeys in the lemonade," to, "Hey, someone had glued all the bathroom doors shut." Before long, most of the fans in the bleachers had gotten up and left. The big game had been forced, and everyone in the entire school was miserable. Boy, our feet smell bad. Oh, I forgot to show you the pages once again. So, right here, here, and I need to show you this one real quick. Everyone that is except for the two giggling boys crouching under shadows beneath the bleachers. "Those were our best pranks yet," laughed Harold. "Yep," chuckled George. "They'll be hard to top, that's for sure." "I just hope we didn't get busted for saying this," said Harold. "Don't worry," said George. "We covered our tracks really well. There's no way we'll get busted." Chapter 6. Busted. Yeah, busted. You die, you'll get busted, but you did. Bro, why did I say? You die, you want to get busted, but you did. The next day at school, an announce came over the loudspeakers. "George Bean and Harold Hutchins, please report to the principal's corruption office at once." Uh-oh, said Harold. I don't like the sound of that. Don't worry, said George. They can't prove anything. George and Harold... Oh my God. Here. George and Harold entered the principal's Krupp's office and sat down in the sat on the chairs in front of his desk. The two boys had been in this office together countless time before. But this time was different. Mr. Krupp was smiling as long as George and Harold had known Mr. Krupp. They had never, ever seen him smile. Mr. Krupp knew something I didn't see you boys at the big game yesterday, said Mr. Krupp. No, oh no, said George. We weren't feeling well. Yeah, Harold stammered nervously. We went home. Oh, that's too bad, said Principal Krupp. You boys missed a good game. George and Harold quickly glanced up at each other and gulped and tried hard not to look guilty. Lucky for you, I have a videotape of the whole thing, Mr. Krupp said. He turned on the television in the corner and pressed the play button on the VCR. Guys, I'm just going to read one more page and then we're done. So, yeah, we're going to do a part 2 and 2. I feel like we're going to do like 6 parts, but I don't know. A black and white image appeared on the TV screen. It was an overhead shot of Georgie and Harold sprinkling pepper into the cheerleaders' pom-poms. Next came a shot of George and Harold pouring liquid bubble bath into the marching band's instruments. How do you like the pre-game show? Asked Mr. Krupp with a devilish grin. George eyed the television screen in terror. He couldn't answer. Harold's eyes were glued to the floor. He couldn't look. The tape went on, revealing all of George and Harold's behind-the-scenes antics. By now, both boys were eyeing the floor slightly nervously and dripping with sweat. Mr. Krupp turned off the TV. So, peace out for part 2.